The Jurassic Period, a time of colossal life, was a world defined by its giants. Yet, beneath the shadow of the colossal sauropods, a constant struggle for survival unfolded. It was an era where the hunter and the hunted were locked in a perpetual evolutionary arms race. At the heart of this ancient conflict stood two iconic adversaries, the predatory Allosaurus and the formidable Stegosaurus. While popular culture often casts the carnivore as the unequivocal victor, a deeper look into the fossil record reveals a far more nuanced story. The Stegosaurus was not merely a passive meal awaiting its fate, it was a living fortress. Its unique biological armor was a testament to survival in a high-stakes world. Now, let's open the fossil record and resurrect the story of this Jurassic Titan. The Stegosaurus presents a stunning paradox of the Jurassic world. When we analyze its dorsal plates, we find they are too fragile for direct combat, leading to theories of thermoregulation or species recognition. Yet, its true defense lay at the opposite end, the thagomizer. Fossil evidence from Allosaurus vertebrae, punctured with precision, tells a clear story. This was not a passive herbivore, it was an armored fortress armed with a devastatingly effective medieval weapon. This magnificent herbivore's most striking feature is its suite of bony armor, a fascinating puzzle for paleontologists. The 17 bony plates, or osteoderms, that rise in two staggered rows along its back, have long been a subject of debate. Were they for defense? We see that the plates were thin and riddled with blood vessels, suggesting a different, more complex purpose. When we analyze the cross-section of these plates, we find a honeycomb-like structure far too delicate to withstand the bone-crushing bite of a large theropod. This leads us to the prevailing paleoecological theories, that the plates were a sophisticated system for regulating body temperature. This allowed the massive animal to warm up or cool down by orienting itself toward or away from the sun. Another compelling hypothesis suggests their use as a display for species recognition or mating rituals, a silent, vibrant language in the prehistoric landscape. However, the real story of defense lies at the opposite end of the animal, its tail, armed with up to 4 massive, bone-hard spikes, each reaching a meter in length. This weapon, known as the thagomizer, was the Stegosaurus's ultimate deterrent. We know it was used for more than just show. The discovery of an Allosaurus tail vertebra with a perfectly sized puncture wound, precisely matching the size and shape of a Stegosaurus tail spike, provides a chilling piece of evidence. This wasn't a rare event or a theoretical possibility. It was a proven, lethal interaction. The Stegosaurus was built not just to endure, but to fight back. Its anatomy, a perfect counter-narrative to the lumbering giant myth. This tale of a Jurassic arms race is told not only through the anatomy of the Stegosaurus, but also in the behavioral patterns we can infer from the fossil record and from comparative paleoecology. To understand the stakes of this conflict, we must first place the Stegosaurus in its natural habitat, a world dominated by the mighty sauropods. These immense, long-necked herbivores, such as Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus, graze the high canopy, leaving the lower-lying cycads and ferns for a different kind of giant. This was the ecological niche carved out by the Stegosaurus. It was a mid-level grazer, a ground-level fortress moving slowly but deliberately through the lush underbrush. It coexisted with other smaller herbivores, but its sheer size and defensive capabilities made it a formidable presence. Its very existence shaped the behavior of the predators that shared its world. The primary hunter in this ecosystem was the Allosaurus, the most common large theropod of the late Jurassic in North America. Unlike the massive, bone-crushing jaws of a later titan like Tyrannosaurus rex, the Allosaurus had a different hunting strategy. We see a lighter build, and its jaw mechanics were less about brute force and more about a serrated, slashing bite. Its mouth, filled with curved, steak knife-like teeth, was an instrument for exsanguination. When we reconstruct the hunt, it becomes clear that Allosaurus did not necessarily try to crush its prey's bones. Instead, it would use its powerful legs and agile body to slash and tear at its victims, weakening them until they succumb to blood loss. This strategy was highly effective against most herbivores, including smaller or younger sauropods. But against the Stegosaurus, it presented a deadly challenge. A frontal assault on a Stegosaurus would have been suicidal for an Allosaurus. A direct attack meant confronting not just a spiked tail, but a body protected by a hide armored with small, pebble-like osteoderms, a form of chainmail defense. The Stegosaurus's low center of gravity and powerful hind legs allowed it to pivot quickly, bringing its thagomizer into play with terrifying speed. We can visualize the strategic challenge. The Allosaurus, a creature of speed and surprise, would have had to get past the thagomizer and deliver its signature slash to a vulnerable flank. The Stegosaurus, in turn, would have to hold his ground, presenting his armored back and tail as a shield, ready to deliver a bone-shattering blow with the slightest movement. This was a battle of wits and specialized anatomy. The Stegosaurus's small brain has often been a subject of humor, but what it lacked in intellect, it more than compensated for. With a body plan refined over millions of years of evolutionary pressure, the predator's strategy of bite and retreat would have been particularly dangerous against an opponent that could pivot and strike with a killing blow in a single, well-timed movement. This conflict was a core part of the Jurassic ecosystem, an ongoing selection pressure that drove the evolution of both species. The Allosaurus developed a more agile body to dodge the thagomizer, while the Stegosaurus's tail spikes became longer and more robust. This ecological dynamic created a balanced system. The Allosaurus was not so effective a hunter that it could wipe out the Stegosaurus population, and the Stegosaurus was not so invincible that it was free from predation. This dance of life and death helped maintain a stable food web. The Stegosaurus, in essence, was a keystone species, not because of its immense numbers, but because its unique defenses forced predators to adapt, thereby structuring the entire ecosystem in a way that is visible even in the fossil record. The ultimate resolution of this evolutionary conflict is not a matter of theory. It is etched into the very stones we unearth. The narrative of survival, of a defensive herbivore turning the tables on its predator, is told in the fossilized bones themselves. When we analyze the bone beds of the Morrison Formation, a geological treasure trove spanning the late Jurassic, we find a disproportionate number of Allosaurus remains bearing healed injuries. Many of these scars, fractured ribs, and damaged vertebrae suggest encounters with large, powerful opponents. While we cannot pinpoint every injury to a Stegosaurus, the pattern of healed trauma provides a compelling story of a predator that regularly faced life-threatening resistance. The discovery of an Allosaurus tail vertebra with a Stegosaurus-sized spike wound is the smoking gun, irrefutable evidence of a direct and successful defense. This single fossil shatters the myth of the Stegosaurus as a passive, slow-witted creature. It was a fighter, a warrior, and a master of its own defense. Further analysis of the Morrison ecosystem reveals another layer to this narrative. It's rare to find a complete Stegosaurus skeleton, suggesting that once an individual died, its carcass was often dismantled and scavenged. But what we do find are the osteoderms, the plates, and the spikes, often separated from the rest of the skeleton. These pieces of armor were so durable and distinct that they are often found long after the softer parts of the body have been consumed or decayed. They are the scattered, fossilized remnants of a grand defensive strategy, a permanent record of an animal that relied on its unique anatomy to survive. The legacy of the Stegosaurus is not just its iconic shape, but its definitive proof of an anatomical arms race. It stands as a profound example of how form follows function in the prehistoric world. Its small skull and brain do not tell the whole story. Its body, from the fragile plates on its back to the lethal spikes on its tail, was a finely tuned machine for survival. The Stegosaurus was not simply lucky. It was a perfect example of natural selection at work. Its specific adaptations, tail, armor, and body plan were the result of millions of years of pressure from predators like the Allosaurus. In turn, the Allosaurus and its kin were shaped by the need to find a way around this living fortress. This constant, deadly dialogue drove both species to greater specialization. The Stegosaurus reminds us that the narrative of prehistoric life is not one of simple victories and clear-cut dominance. It is a complex tapestry of interdependence, where even the most vulnerable-looking creatures held the keys to their own survival. This wasn't a world where the strong simply preyed on the weak. It was a world where every creature, through its unique adaptations, played a critical role in the grand, interwoven saga of evolution. Its plates may have been for display, its thagomizer for defense, but together, they tell us a complete story of a creature that found its place and held its own against the most fearsome predators of its time. The Stegosaurus may be a lost species, frozen in the stone pages of time, but the lessons it teaches us are timeless. It's a testament to the fact that survival is not a simple matter of strength, but a sophisticated dance of adaptation, strategy, and resilience. As we continue to uncover the secrets of the Mesozoic era, we are reminded that every fossil, every scar on a bone, and every piece of armor tells a story of an ancient, vibrant world. A world where life found a way to not just exist, but to endure